All right there, everybody. This is CP, Cards and Dice, and we'll talk about a new form. Hey, Philip Reynolds in the house. Hello, brother. How are you? Payoff pitch today, and we're going to go into a new format and a new channel, and it's going to be primarily tutorials and just analysis and reviews and critiques and unboxings. It's going to be primarily that. And we're going to talk about what other guys do and what you can do and misconceptions and modifications and all that stuff. Probably going to be called the, I'm not sure exactly. I'm working on some ideas. And today here we are going to replay April 5th. Now, this is part and parcel of my so far it's a three-parter, but it's going to be an extensive, larger, I guess, a larger look into investigation into the comparing and contrasting of APA, Stratomatic. Now it's going to be Payoff Pitches, the third one. And I have the data for that. I got to pull the data for APA and Strat. And I'm going to compare it to see how Payoff Pitch kind of compares to both the results we got for the 83 Seaver replay that we did for those. So this is going to be an 83 Seaver replay, but really ultimately it's about the data and about the results and the analyzing to see how Payoff Pitch can hold up with those two other systems. I think this is interesting. And I've got a lot of guys who are going to want to know, right? It's pretty popular right now. Now, I think it's really ultimately the climax of its popularity right now, or the high point of its popularity. Payoff Pitch, that is. It could continue to become more popular. I don't know. I think it's pretty popular right now. Lately, when I was playing it about a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was not as much. There was a couple of guys knew about it, and I was kind of the only one that was plodding through a 79 Mets season, a losing season. So it was kind of gloomy, and it was always like a loss, and they could hardly score any runs, But I played a 162 game schedule, and plus I had a couple of replays with DeGrom in 2018. I had one with Cologne in 2015, just to compare and contrast these stats, and they're pretty good and pretty close. Forever there. How are you? Forever remain 90. So this is going to be more of it's going to be a new channel, and I'm saying goodbye pretty much to this channel. And it's going to be less about replays, more about the data from the replays. It will give you some, replays as well, but it's going to be an informational, educational. And it's going to be a tabletop tutorial type format, and I think this is going to fit into the system a little bit better, to offer everybody something different instead of the same old, just another guy, playing, rolling some dice. This would be more of a general analysis of the season, of the mechanics of the game, of the data, of the results. Of the mechanics, and it's going to offer you mods and just different approaches. It's going to be, it's going to have some current events, current information, newsworthy information that's coming out, and every so often we'll have some feuds that go on in our hobby. We will discuss the feuds and so on and so forth. So it'll be an informational, kind of chat-oriented, kind of unboxing, tutorial, sort of informational channel. So there's some changes coming up, and this is basically what it's going to look like we're going to get started. We're not going to use any of the charts. These are the charts right here. And well, we may be forced to use a chart. I don't know. But I can't. If we're going to try not to use a chart, but there's no 100% guarantee. This is the only one that I usually have to look at. This is the base stealing chart. Now, the way I play this is just I look at my guys, and if I see they have 6 or 7 or 8 stolen bases, I try to steal a base, depending on the situation. I never really put a lot of thought into it. I don't have to have a special system or a mod to do it. I think that's not like the foundation of the game for me. It's just something that's on the margins. So the fact that it's on the margins, I don't really spend a lot of time worrying about that. And I don't want another chart or another lookup to figure out if the guy's going to steal a base. Because if you're Lou Brock, you're probably going to steal a base. If you're Omar Moreno, you're probably going to steal a base. Hey, Salvador, how are you, brother? So we're going to play. We're doing a tutorial here on Payoff Pitch. This is I call the ultimate Payoff Pitch tutorial. And you got your pitcher cards. Now I use these. A lot of guys don't protect their cards, but they do really revel in the fact that Joe Bryant and Payoff Pitch has amazing cards, but then they just kind of put their grubby old paws all over the cards, and then they're going to get damaged. So these are I mean, I wouldn't even care about these, right? Because these these are my PDFs, and I like PDFs because you know what? If I get an idea or something, I can just write on the PDF. I can make a note on the PDF, and if I want a brand new PDF, I'll print it out. But I don't. My notes are good, and I can make little notes and about things about the player that I want to kind of. So that's why I like PDFs. You can. It's like a work in progress. And I'm trying to fit this in. I can't get it in there. Let's see if I can get it in. Okay. See. Yeah. So Steve Carl and Tom Seaver are going to be in. And we can put them down here. Right, it's going to be Tom Seaver leading off against Pete Rose. I always put my cards to the left because you read the pitcher first. I go from left to right. And we'll put the Mets over here, somewhere else on the side. We're going to flip the cards. I think we got everything in view. Pretty good. It's not doing the pulsating that this autofocus does. All right, so we're going to have Rose, Morgan, and Matthews, and this is the really the experiment. It's an experiment that I started with APA, and then I continued with Stratomatic, and now I'm doing with Payoff Pitch, and I'm going to bring you all the data for those two replays of Seaver's '83 season. I'm going to compare how closely Payoff Pitch and Seaver's stats align to the other companies, to the other game companies. So when and so then you'll have some argument, some ammunition. So when guys say, "Oh, this is the ultimate, most accurate game," well, you can say, "Well, you know what? Based on this information, they're pretty close." And Salvador says, "I laminate my PDFs," and that's hey. I respect that, but that's way too much labor intensive for me. I'm just not that into doing that. That's a lot of work. I got my buddy from Germany does that. He laminates everything, and then he cuts everything, and he's so meticulous and so exact, and so precise. So I'm more on the cerebral side. I like to think about doing that. I don't like to actually do it. All right, so here goes. We're going to start off Tom Seaver. Anything unusual about Tom Seaver's card that comes to mind? He's got a tough at 7 and 8. He's got an in-play at 6. His ballpark is at 10. He's got no wheelhouse, which is a good thing for Tom Terrific. 83, he was, I think he was 13 and 16 off the top of my head, with a 3.55 ERA. And he came back to the Mets in 83, and the Mets expected to have him back, but it didn't turn out that way. He was picked up in the free agent market by the Chicago White Sox. He went on to win his 300th game with the Chicago White Sox later on, and I think it was 85 versus the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. All right, let's get started. I'm going to play this pretty quick. Now, I pull a card, and I look at the 8, right? The 8 is going to be a tough result, which is what you want from the pitcher. And now I'm going to pull a card and look on the right side of it, and that's a 0-7. So it's a tough 0-7, and that is going to, against a right-handed pitcher, that's going to be a strikeout. So Rose goes down swing. Big K for Pete Rose. Looks back at Seaver on his way back to the bench. Seaver still has it, although he had a poor 1982 season where his ERA was over 5, but he suffered injuries in 1982. And this is an interesting team, the Phillies from the 83 season. They got Rose, Morgan, and Perez. Those are early 70s stars with the Reds. And here's the early 80s, and now they're all together on the Phillies. All right, I'm going to pull a card for Seaver. That's a 7. That's a tough. And a tough 33, and that is going to be, right outside the hit range. And it's going to go to a 33, which is going to be a pop-up to the first baseman. And that's Kingman at first base. Defense for the Mets is in the outfield is Foster in left, Wilson in center, and Howard in right field. Third base and is Brooks, Huey Brooks. Shortstop is Bob Baylor. Second baseman is Giles. And then the first baseman is Dave Kingman. 2 outs. And here's Gary Matthews. These cards are a little sticky because I haven't used them. Gary Matthews. And Matthews against righties batted .245. Here's a pitch. It's a 9. That's going to be patient. And a patient 36, and that is going to be a base on balls. So Seaver walks Matthews. And Matthews is a guy to steal. He had 13 stolen bases. So we are going to, let's see. Let me turn the, let me see. So basically, we're going to look at his stolen base is a 4C, and the Mets catcher a 4C, and the Mets catcher is an arm rating of 3. So we look at it's going to be a C3, which is normal, and so I'm going to just send them. And in basically the way I do it, I don't try to get a lead or anything. I just send them, and he may or may he does try to get the lead, right? Let's see. I haven't done this in a while. We pull a card, and there he goes in the throw down, and he's safe. No, wait. We got to look at see if we got to pull a. Okay, that's it. That's what I was missing. I want to look at that number. No. His number is a steal rating of 4, so that's the 12. So you want 4 or less, and that's a 9. So he does not get the jump. That was my thing I was missing. Okay, so he doesn't get the jump. Now it's going to be Mike Schmidt. Couldn't remember. I haven't played this in a couple months. All right. So here's Mike Schmidt against Tom Terrific. There's a pitch. It's an 11. That's a tough. What Seaver wants. And an 80. A tough 80 is going to be a fly ball to deep center field. But center fielder Wilson is going to get this one. No runs, no hits, so walk, 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the first. All right, here's Stevie Carlton against Mookie Wilson. Here's a pitch. It's an 8 that's in play. In play 51 against a lefty. And that's going to be an out, kind of an out to ground ball to first base. 1 away. Bob Baylor's next. That's a 6, and that's a tough. A tough 0-9 should be a strike. Oh, no, and it's not. Bob Baylor with a little ground ball makes contact, and that's past the first baseman for a base hit single. So Bob Baylor, and Bob Baylor stole 18 bases. He's going to try to get a jump. We're looking at a 4 or less, and we don't get that. So you need a 4 or less on it for him to get to go. And all right, so here's Dave King. That's an 8. That's a tough 84. And that's going to be a ground ball to short. This could end up being a double play. We're going to pull for a double play. And we're looking at number 6. It's got to be less than a 6. And it's a 3, so it is a double play. It's a 6-4-3 double play, inning over, no runs, 1 hit, none left. Hey, Patrick is in the house. There he is, my brother. Haven't seen him in a long time. All right. So it's Perez leading off against Tom Terrific in the top of the second. This is, again, part of the experiment, comparing Atlas Stratomatic and then later Payoff pitch in terms of how Seaver's numbers are, how his results are. All right, Tom Seaver versus Tony Perez. That's a 10. That's a ballpark result. And the ballpark card I did not bring with me. Hold on a second. I got to grab the ballpark card. All right, Shea Stadium, there's your ballpark card. So we're going to pull a card and see if it falls within the range. Perez is a righty, so 1-45, and it's a 58. So it's out of the ballpark range. So it goes to in play, and then it's a 52, and that's going to be an out, a line out to shortstop. 1 away. Bo Diaz. Here's a pitch from Seaver. It's a 6. That's in play. In play 87. And that's a grounded to short. And Ivan De Jesus here with an 8. That is a tough 21. It's a strikeout. So Seaver with 2 Ks today. No runs, no hits. Bottom of the second. It's going to be Foster. George Foster is going to lead it off for the Mets against Steve Carlton. Here's a pitch. It's an 8. That's an in play. In play 86 versus a lefty is a grounded to short. Up with it is De Jesus and throws out Foster. Next is Brooks. That's a 9. That's a tough 15 versus a lefty, and that's a strikeout. Huey Brooks, downswing. And Mike Howard. Mike Howard only had 3 at-bats in the whole season. 6. That's a tough. And a tough 83. And that is going to be, believe it or not, that's going to be a base hit. So Mike Howard, who batted .333, gets a hit. He's on at first. He went 1 for 3. He played his first game and never again. Here's Giles. It's a 7, a patient. Patient 52 versus a lefty, and that's going to be a ball that's driven in the gap. We're going to pull a card and see what it says. Double off the wall. Runner advances 2 bases, but with 2 outs, he's going to come around to score. So it's 1-0 Mets on the RBI double by Giles. Next is Ron Hodges. It's a 2. It's a wheelhouse 96 versus a lefty. That's going to be a deep fly ball to right field. And out there is Rose, makes the catch. And the Mets pick up 1 run on 2 hits, and we go to the top of the third. Score 1-0 Mets. It's going to be Dernier, the center fielder, Carlton, and Rose. All right, top of the third. Still not going to shuffle. All right, here's Tom Seaver, 5. That's an in play. In play 82 against a righty, and that's going to be a grounded to short. 1 down. Next is Steve Carlton, a 10. That's a ballpark. An 05. 05, this is a left-handed batter. It's going to be in the wheelhouse for Carlton. And Carlton does have a wheelhouse, but does not have 56, and that's outside the wheelhouse. It's going to be a grounded to third. And here's P. Rose. Pitch from Seaver, an 11. That's a tough 99. And a tough 99 is going to be a fly out to right. 3 up, 3 down for Tom Terrific. Go bottom of the third. Tom Seaver's leading off against Steve Carlton. That's a 7, a patient 47. And that's going to be a ground ball and through into center field for a base hit. So Tom Terrific starts us off with a base hit, a knock. And he's on at first. Mookie Wilson. It's a 5. That's a tough 28. Tough 28 is a strikeout. Wilson down swinging. Had a tendency to strike out a lot. They worked with him on that fact. He's had tremendous speed, but he did strike out a lot. All right, Carlton. Baylor. That's a 3 is defense. We're going to have to look at that. And I'm going to pull a card. A 0-3, so that's definitely an error. Let's see who it's on, or error or range. It's a range hit past the second baseman. And let's see what happens. Oh, and then it should say here, hit single 1, advance 1 base. So Seaver stops at second base. So Baylor with an infield single with 1 out, puts runners on first and second. And here's Con Kingman. Kingman hit 3 home runs against lefties, a total of 13 home runs, 83, for the Mets. I don't think he was traded. I actually just think he played part-time. All right, here's a pitch. It's a tough 75, and that is a fly ball, center field. Will not be tagging. I have a system that allows me to tag up on any fly ball. I would have to check and see what kind of fly ball it is. I would pull the next card. Actually, it tells you what kind of, I would pull the next card. That's a short fly. So then I could still tag, but I would probably get thrown out, obviously. I'm not going to worry about that. Here's George Foster with 2 outs. Runners on first and second. Here's a pitch. It's an 8. An 8 is an in play. An in play 59 against a lefty, and that is a grounded to third. We'll go to second, and that retires the side. No runs. 2 hits, top of the fourth. 1-0 Mets in the top of the fourth at Shea Stadium, Flushing, Queens. Seaver's return to Queens. 6 years with the Cincinnati Reds. He is back in town. He's going to be facing Joe Morgan, Gary Matthews, and Mike Schmidt. And it is time to shuffle. Do the shuffle. Now, some guys I know I bought 3 or 4 decks and they just switch. I do that. And actually, that's an alternative. I could do that. It's actually nice to be able to do that. Just grab another deck and don't worry about anything. I do that with Status Pro. I have 3 decks. All right. So this is the ultimate tutorial on the payoff pitch, and it's also the experiment, the 83 Seaver experiment, using all different systems to identify how they match up to each other. Strat and APA are pretty darn close, but those are classic systems that are supposed to be pretty darn close, and they are. All right, here's Tom Terrific to Joe Morgan. That's a 9. That's a patient. A patient 60, and that is going to be a base on balls. Morgan, always with a good eye, has a very high walk number. Morgan had 18 stolen bases. We're going to try to get a jump. He requires a 4, and we do get it. Look at that. So there goes Morgan. He is an A against a 3, so it will be a 3A or an A3, and that's going to be excellent. So excellent chance. There goes Morgan. The throw down from Hodges, and he is safe, but the throw gets away from. We are going to check now on the catcher, I believe, the catcher's rating. Let's see. The catcher's error rating is a 3. And this, now I got to look at okay, catcher roll 6 higher E rating. If the higher than the catcher's E rating, so let's pull the card, and it's going to be a 5. So it's going to be an error. So it's a stolen base, and then an error, and Morgan's on a third base with a tying run. Error on Hodges. The ball skipped past the Matthews is what? He's a righty. Skipped past the second baseman, Giles. And that allowed Morgan to go to third. Nobody out, runner on third. Here's Matthews. A 2, that's defense. And a 75, that's going to be defensive, goes up to 61, 65. So that's going to be an out. What kind of an out? It's going to be a range out. So basically an out to the ground ball, and the runner is going to advance. The runner was not playing in. I don't do that till the 5th inning, just because I don't want to deal with it. So the tying runner is going to come in, and it's going to be a G3 RBI for Gary Matthews. Goes the opposite way and drives in the run. Here's Mike Schmidt, pitch from Seaver, a 4, tough, a tough 36, and that's going to be a strikeout. 2 out, and that's Seaver's 3rd strikeout of the game. And next is Tony Perez with 2 outs. It's a 12. That is in play 91. And that is a ground that is short. I was going to say Buddy Harrelson, but no, it's Bob Baylor. And that's going to be a run. No hits, a walk, none left. And it's tied up at 1 apiece in the bottom of the 4th. Steve Carlton versus Tom Terrific. And Carlton's going to be facing Brooks, Howard, and Giles. Here's a pitch. It's an 8 that's in play. A 77 versus a lefty. And that's going to be a ground at a 2nd. 1 out. Howard, who singled in his first at bat, that's ballpark, a 28. Howard is batting righty. Right-handed batter. A 28 is going to be wheelhouse. So maybe a hit. It's going to be a 93. That's going to be an out. Grounded to 2nd. 2 down. And here's Giles. 4, which is a tough 39 against a lefty. And that is, just missed being a base hit. 39 is going to be a pop-up to the second baseman. 3 up, 3 down. Morgan is right there. Puts it away. Top of the 5th. So this game moves along. That's one characteristic. It flows. It's very simple to play. That's has to do a lot of its popularity. And if you don't try this game, you're just probably being a little bit headstrong, a little bit stubborn, because it does everything that every game does pretty much. All the stats are pretty close without a lot of the headaches, like why am I going to add up? Why am I going to add +2, -2, +3, -2, -1? And I added all that up, and I'm back at 0. What's the purpose of all that? I don't see that fun, and why do I want to do that every at bat? You know what I'm saying? It's just Diaz. Pitch from Seaver's a 9, and that's a patient 84. That's going to be a ground ball to short. De Jesus is next. That's a 5 in play. In play 0-4. And that is going to be a drive down the line into the left field corner. After it is the left fielder Foster. Bounds away from him. Jesus is going to try for third. Here's a throw to third, and not in time. So it's a 1-out triple for Ivan De Jesus. Holy moly. And it's going to be a 0-4 against a right. Here's a triple. Ivan De Jesus on a tough. We're going to double check that. And, so was it on a tough or was it on in play? That was on in play. I'm sorry. Not on a tough. Okay. So Ivan De Jesus on a third. Infield's going to come in. We're already in the 5th now. That's a 6. That's in play. A 6.25, and that is a base hit for Denier up the middle into center field. The Phils have taken the lead. Denier is on at first. Denier had 35 stolen bases, so he's going to try to get a jump. He needs a 7, and it's a 10, so he gets no jump. Steve Carlton is going to square the bunt, and I do this in a very simple fashion. Let's see. His bunt rating is an A, so I just look at A, and it's a good bunt. So I don't worry about that. I do that once maybe a game, and I'm not going to look at any extra charts for a bunt. It's just not something that I care about that much. So it's a good bunt. He's a good bunter. And here's Pete Rose with runner on second, an insurance run. Here's a pitch from Seaver. It's a 7. That's a tough 19. That's a base hit for Seaver, for Rose. And that was second base, but there's 2 outs. Dernier is fast, so he'll score. 3-1. RBI single for Pete Rose. Drives in number 8. That's the middle number I put in the circle. And Rose is on it first. Here's Morgan. That's an 8, a tough 32. And that is going to be an out, just barely an out. Goes up to 31, a 32 is going to be a pop-up to second base. And right there is Giles. And that ends the inning, but the Phils pick up 2 runs on 3 hits, and they lead it by a score of 3-1. All right, we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Carlton on the mound. Now, both these pitchers, since it's opening day, really didn't go very long. They're going to go 7 innings. I'm going to pull them after 7. Fatigue is 8 for Carlton, and I believe fatigue is 7 for Seaver. So once they get to that inning, they are fatigued. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, Steve Carlton to Hodges. That's a 5. You look at a tough 12. And that's going to be a strikeout against a lefty. And that is his 3rd strikeout of the game. Next is Tom Terrific. It's a 5. That's a tough 15. That should be a strikeout. Yes, it is. Back-to-back Ks for Steve Carlton, the southpaw. And it's an 11. 11 is Ballpark. Ballpark 62 against Mookie Wilson, who's batting from the right side. And that's not going to do it. So we're going to go to in play, and it's going to be a 16 in play, and that is a base hit. So Wilson with a base hit, and here's Bob Bailey. A 5, a tough 78. And that is a fly ball to center field, and that retires the side. All right, top of the sixth. No runs, one hit in the bottom of the fifth. We go to top of the sixth. It's going to be Seaver versus Matthews. That's a 2 defense. Let's look at the card. And it's a 53, so that could definitely fall into the range here. So we're going to have to check a couple of things. It's going to be a defensive rare play. This forces me to use the defensive rare play chart. And we're going to pull a card. It's going to be a 5. Infielder with an A to C range makes a great catch. Let's see. It's going to be the first baseman. I don't think that Kingman is an A to a C, but you never know. Kingman range is an F. So it's a 5. D to F can't get it, and it's going to be a double. So a leadoff double for Gary Matthews. He's on at second base. Past the diving Kingman at first base, who doesn't have very good range. Here's Schmidt. That's an 8. That's a tough 46. That's going to be a strikeout. So Seaver blows a fastball past Schmidt for his 4th strikeout, and a big one at that. Seaver does not want to fall behind any more than he's behind 3-1 right now here at the top of the 6th. Here's Tony Perez. That's a 9er at Patient. Patient 24, and that is a base on balls. And that is base on balls number 3 for Seaver today. That puts runners on first and second. And you know what? We are going to call it a day for Tom Terrific. And I don't think I brought the – hold on, I got to get the extra players. I don't think I brought anything outside. All right. Now, I remember this game. I remember actually who came in to relieve Seaver. Let's see if I can pull him out and see him here. Let's see. It was this new kid. He was a rookie. He actually got the win, I believe. Mike Tucker Ashford. Stop. Sisk. Doug Sisk. He's the one who relieved Seaver. We're going to stay true to the game. Let him go. Back in '83, you could let a reliever go 3 innings, no problem. So he's going to come in to face Bo Diaz, just like that. Seaver's out. Now, one of the reasons I do that is because if I don't, later on, it becomes... Yes, sir. That's right, Salvador. Correct. What was I going to say? Oh, the reason I'm pulling him, like, first of all, he had he gave up a base runner in the 4th inning on a walk. Then he gave up a triple, a single, and another single in the 5th. He's an older guy. He's 30 on his card. I think it says 38. He's 38 on his card. And it's the first start of the season. So, and plus, if I let him give up too many runs later on, it gets really hard to bring his ERA down. And I got to struggle with that. So I want to limit how many runs he gives up. So if I can get out of this inning without giving up these 2 runs, great. I don't want him to give up a home run here and then maybe another walk. I just don't want to risk all that. So I'm just going to pull him right here. I'm going to bring in Sisk, who's pretty good. He had a 2.24 ERA. And we're going to pull a card. It's going to be Bo Diaz. Bo Diaz is a right-handed hitter. 1 out. Runners on first and second. See if we can get Bo Diaz to hit into double play. That's a 10. That's defense. Okay. I'm going to pull a card. Let's see what the number is. It's an 88, so that's an automatic out. Now the question is who the out is to. It's a third base out on an error, right? That doesn't matter. What am I looking here? I should be looking at the card. It's an automatic out, and it's going to be a pop-up with a third baseman. Okay. So here comes Ivan De Jesus. De Jesus tripled in the top of the fifth inning. Here's a pitch from Sisk. It's a 7. It's in play, a 35 against a righty. In play 35, and that's going to be a base hit. And that may score the run. Matthews should be pretty fast, at least a 6. So he's going to score. Yeah, Matthews is a speed of 6. How did I know that? So he definitely scores. And then going to third, Perez with 2 outs, he may stop at second. Well, I can also read what the card says. It says 1 base. Let's see what happens with Perez. Perez should be slow. He's a 3, so he's going to stop at second base. There's a RBI single, and that's going to be charged to Seaver. And that is 3. RBI single, and that's going to be first and second now. And here comes Dernier. Bob Dernier, he singled, picked up an RBI in that 5th inning. It's a 4-1 ball game now. Phillies. There's a pitch. That's an 8. That's a patient 17. That's ball 4. So Sisk is struggling a bit here, not helping Seaver out, which is not what we want to see. But here comes Carlton, so he should be able to get out of the inning. Here's a pitch from Sisk. It's a 7 again in play. You want a low number, a 0-7. And that's going to be not only a base hit, but that's going to be pulled down the line and roll to the wall. So Carlton lines one, and that's going to score 1 run. And that's going to score another run. And with 2 outs, I can tell you that Dernier is going to score. That is a bases-clearing double by Steve Carlton. And we're going to double-check that. But we rolled a 0-7 on a in-play. So in-play, 0-7 it is. I was looking at the wrong place, actually. I was looking at Wheelhouse. It is a double. It's a bases-clearing double because there are 2 outs. So holy smokes. So now the relief pitcher, short relief pitcher is given 2 runs, so he becomes fatigued. I think it's automatic. Long relievers 3 runs, short relievers 2 runs. So we're going to look for a fatigue card. And these fatigue cards aren't the end of the world. Sisk has a really low ERA, so we're going to look for 0, and it's pretty much strikeouts are 2.9, so he doesn't strike out many. He's more of a ground ball pitcher. So let's look at the fatigue card. We're checking out the fatigue cards. Nope. 0-0. Yep, this is it. This is his fatigue card right here. You're going to see how a fatigue card works. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, okay, he's going to just give up hit after hit. It's a little wacky. He does, I think, have the cards do allow for more opportunity for allowing home runs, I believe. Yeah, because they have a wheelhouse at 7. So he's tired now. And it's going to be Pete Rose with a 5, and that's going to be in play 79 against a righty. In play 79, and that's an out. Finally, they fly to center, can of corn for a Wilson. But the Phils pick up 4 runs, and unfortunately, Seaver's going to allow 5 runs. Well, actually, this run here wouldn't have scored. So it's going to be, he's going to allow 5 runs, but 4 earned in 5 1/3 innings. So that's Seaver's numbers for the day. How many hits did he allow? He allowed 2, 3 hits, 4 hits, 4 hits. And walks, I believe I said 3 walks, 2, 3 walks. Struck out 3, struck out 4. Tom Seaver. Return to Shea. Disappointing. All right, so let's go to the bottom of the 6th. See if the Mets could pick up some runs here, make it a game at least. The score is 7-1. Ouch. Steve Carlton going to face Kingan. And we pull a card. It's going to be a 7. That's Patient. A Patient 76. That's a fly to center. One away. A 7. That's again a Patient. Patient 86. And that is a grounded to short. De Jesus up with it. High throw. Nice stretch by Perez. And here's Brooks at 10 in play 16, and that is a base hit single. So 2-out single, and here's Howard at 8 in play 99, and that is a fly to right. And that retires the side, no runs, 1 hit, top of the 7th. Okay. Where's our? What do I do with the cards? Oh, here we go. Okay. We're using the fatigue card for Sisk. And it's going to be Joe Morgan. Top of the 7th, it's time to shuffle. I got to get a couple more sets. I'm probably going to just print them out in PDFs. It's much easier for me than to order and to wait. Just click print, and they all print out. I have my cutter, my trusty cutter. I just cut them up. I use 90-pound paper because it's much easier to cut. Hey, Bears Den 007 in the house. All right. Got a little payoff pitch. Guys like to see payoff pitch, so I moved away from payoff pitch because everybody's playing it. So I felt like, why saturate it? Why keep on doing everything the same thing? So I kind of became a little self-indulgent and started doing like different receiver replays from the early 70s. All right, this is the last 3 innings of the game. We're in the top of the 7th. It's going to be a fatigue pitcher card for Sisk. That's a 6. That's a tough 99, and that's going to be Sisk is a righty. Yeah. A tough 99 is a fly ball to right field. Gary Matthews is next, and that's a 4. That's a in play 39. And that is a pop-up infield. Second baseman, Giles, 2 down. And here's Mike Schmidt with an 11. That's defense. Defense 89. That's an out. Who's a 2? Who's a 2? It's to right field. F9. 3 up, 3 down. Bottom of the 7th. So this is where I pay homage to my buddy RJL. We are back. I picked this up. 83 Mets yearbook. Look at that. Look how cool that is, man. Classic 1983 caricatures. Look at Tom Seaver. Look at it. They gave him a suitcase with a Mets sticker, then a red sticker, now a Mets sticker. And they thought he was back for good. I mean, he was truly a Shea Flushing hero. Too bad, too bad that the Mets didn't keep him around. They didn't go out of their way. And there it is. So let me show you. I wasn't even showing it. Sorry. Yeah, I love the suitcase. The Mets sticker, then the red sticker, now the Mets sticker. And there he is. Mookie Wilson's got the wings. I think this is Neil Allen, I believe. Dave Cont came in. George Foster. And I believe this is John Stearns, right? He was a football player. But he gets injured in 83. I don't think he plays. Bears Den has a lot of Stratomatic seasons. Wow, yeah. I sold all my 70s because they're gonna reprint all those 70 sets. I believe they're gonna reprint 75, and I believe they're gonna reprint 69. If they have any sense, they will reprint all the sets that are sold out. Because if they're sold out, what does that tell you, right? That maybe it's a good thing to make some more. If you want to make money, I don't know. It's just me. Basic 101 economics, marketing. But this is a cool look. And here, the coaches. And Frank Howard is one of the coaches. He's an enormous guy. Jesus Christ, look at the guns on him. He's enormous. Anyway, and they put it into when I bought this, it's got a crease right down the middle. They put in an envelope that said, "Do not bend." And guess what? My mailman, he stuck it in my mailbox. And the whole thing got bent. And there's a crease right through the middle of it. Yeah, terrible. Beautiful. 1983, dude. Come on. It's 50 years old. Or 40, 37 years old. How are you going to do that? Come on. When it says do not bend, don't be a moron. Do not bend. So that's disappointing. All right, let's continue with the game. Bottom of 7. Giles, Hodges. And then the pitcher, let's probably see a pinch hitter. So Schmidt flew out to end the inning. All right, Stevie Carlton against Brian Giles. This is probably the last inning of Carlton. Let's see what happens. All right, here's the pitch. It's an 8. That's an in play. In play 0-4 against a lefty. That's a base hit. And that's going to split the outfield, roll to the wall. Hustling around first and into second base standing is Giles with a leadoff double. Next is Ron Hodges. Here's the pitch. It's a 7. That's a patient 14, and that is ball 4. So Mets got something going. Now we got a pinch hitter for the Mets. Let's see what we got here. Mark Bradley, I believe, was around. Wally Backman. I'm trying to remember the guys that started the season with the Mets that year. I think Jorgensen was around. But they want a righty. I know Strawberry wasn't here. Reynolds, I believe, was around. Let me take a quick peek. Now, to my right, I have the unless my battery died. Yeah, it died. Okay. No surprise. No surprise. All right, let's pump that up. Let me check the 1983 to see who the Mets are using as pinch hitter. That's just one of the things I like to do. I want to use a guy that they're actually using. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up 1983 and look at the couple of games. The game after this. This is the opening day game played in 83. So I want to look at the next game. Oh, that's 73. 83. All right. So April 5th. Who did the Mets use to pinch hit in this game? And the Phils. Who they? Let's see. Mets use Wally Backman to pinch hit. That's why I'm going to bring in to pinch hit, Wally Backman. I just like to do that to get in, kind of relive the history of it. A lot of times I'll think back to where was I on that day? Where was I on April 5th, 1983? What was I doing? It's fascinating to do that. I enjoy doing that. So it's going to be Wally Backman coming up with runners on first and second. All right, and that's going to be it for Sisk. Sisk goes basically 1.2, gave up two hits, and a walk. Struck out none, and gave up a couple of runs, believe it or not. Yes, he did. A couple of earned runs. All right, Wally Backman is up. So the inning started with Giles hammering a Carlton fastball in the gap, and then it was followed up by a walk to Hodges. So that puts runners on first and second. Here's the pitch from Carlton. It's an 11. That's a ballpark, a 0-6. Wally Backman has no power. So even though it's in his wheelhouse, it's not going to work out that way. It doesn't have a wheelhouse. So it's going to be a 72. And that's going to be an out, I guess. Fly out to center field. And next is Mookie Wilson. There's a pitch from Carlton. It's an 8. That's in play 18. In play 18, and that's going to be a base hit. That's going to be runner on second scores. Runners advance 2 bases. RBI single. That scores number 7. And Mookie's on at first, sends Hodges to third. First and third. It's going to be Baylor. I like the way base running is abstracted most of the time. You still make some decisions once in a while. First and third, and we may pull us. Let's see this game and see when we can pull him already. I'll pull him. I mean, it's no big deal. I couldn't care less if I pull him or not. I think I'm feeling that he should get pulled here. So already the top of the 7th. It's only 1 out. He's given up a double, a walk, and a single. It's the first start of the season. These guys are not really ready to go full 9 innings. So he's going to get pulled for, in this game, he got pulled for Ron Reed. So we're going to bring in Ron Reed here. And we will let Reed bat if he comes up. I don't care about that. So Ron Reed, let's pull his card. The great thing about Payoff Pitch is that you get every player. That's the great thing about it, man. So a big air hug to Joe for doing that, because there's a lot of companies that will refuse to offer you every player. I get it. You don't really need every player if it's just a game that's used for tourneys and for great these G-Top tournaments, great teams from the past tournaments. You don't need all the players. So I get it. But I'm like a historical replayer, I guess it would be characterized as. And I like every player, so I have to be kind of be objective when I talk about that. I think it's the right thing to do. So it's going to be Ron Reed coming in to face Bobby Baylor with runners on first and third. Here's a pitch, and that's an 8. That's a tough 31, and that's a 30-watt pitch. So a tough 31, and that is going to be an out, a pop-up infield pop-up. Second baseman Morgan, he squeezes it, and here's Conking, and with good power, an 8. It's going to be a tough 38. That's going to be a swing and a miss, and that retires the side. So Ron Reed comes in and induces a pop-up and a strikeout. Good job for Ron Reed, right-hander, 348, 9-1 record in 1983. Mets pick up a run on 2 hits. It's going to be a 7-2 score. Top of the 8th. It's going to be a new pitcher for the Mets. Let's see who that's going to be. Again, the Mets only used 1 pitcher in this game, so I'm going to have to go with game 2 to find who else is on this roster. Right now, I'm not using my replay helper. I'm not using that right now. Let's get the next game. The actual score of this game was 2-0. And the next pitching day was Neil Allen. But Neil Allen, I believe, is their closer, so I don't know that I'm going to use Neil Allen here. Let me grab the guy who pitches on the third day. Hopefully I have somebody pitching on the third day. Yep, I do. I have Jesse Orozco and Ombe. I'm going to bring in Ombe. All right. Funny looking dude. He's got red hair, big red hair. Rick Ombe. So he's going to be the new pitcher for the Mets in the top of the 8th inning. Okay, so Ombe is going to go up against Tony Perez. And here's the pitch let's write him in. He gets traded eventually with Tim Allen for Keith Hernandez. Tim Allen, is it? I'm thinking of the actor. I think it's Tim Allen, isn't it? Let me see. One. Neil Allen. Neil Allen. He gets traded to the Cardinals. Neil Allen, Ombe, and I don't know if there's somebody else that goes to them for Keith Hernandez. They just wanted to get Keith Hernandez out. Whitey Herzog wanted Keith Hernandez out. Fringe players do have the lefty-righty splits. Yeah, that's if the fringe player went up against a lefty. If he didn't go up against a lefty, you won't have it. Some guys just went like Howard went up against the lefty, and that's it. So he just has one column, and that's what you use. So anyway, Perez against Ombe. Here goes. 6. That's a tough 44 against a righty. A strikeout. So Perez strikes out, going down. Ombe an 8 to a tough 46, and that's against Bo Diaz. And that is going to be a comebacker. Ombe feels his position, goes out Diaz, and here's De Jesus with a 5. That's an in play 51. And it's going to be an out. Grounder to first. 3 up, 3 down. All right. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Game probably over 7-2. Philadelphia. Reed versus Foster. The pitch. It's a 9er. That's a tough 0-5. That should be a strikeout, and it is. Huey Brooks is next, a 7. That's in play 15. And that, my friend, is a base hit. Huey Brooks with a single. He's got 2 hits today. Mike Howard, 6. That's a tough 78. And that's a strikeout. So 3 strikeouts so far for Ron Reed and Brian Giles. With a 5, a patient 31. 30 is his wild pitch. Patient 31 versus a righty is going to be a base on balls. First and second. And here comes Ron Hodges. We're going to let him bat a 9. It's a tough 10. That should be a strikeout, and it is. And that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, top of the 9th. Ombe in the second inning for the Mets. Will be facing Dernier. The pitcher, we'll let him bat. It's a 6. That's tough 51. And that is a grounder to third. Huey Brooks fires and gets Dernier by half a step. And the pitcher hitting card, I got to pull a pitcher hitting card for Reed. Let's see what his pitcher hitting card is. Reed's batting card is a There's a 5 pitcher hitting card. So let's find that. I'll find a 5 anywhere. There it is. All right, so let's get the pitcher to bat with 1 out. So 5, it's in play, 67. In play 67, and that's going to be an out of some kind. It's a ground at second, 2 down. And here comes the leadoff batter, who's 1 for 4, Pete Rose, the Pete Rose with a 10, a patient 24. That's ball 4. So Ombe loses him. And here's Morgan with a 9. That's a ballpark 32. He bats from the left side. That's going to be wheelhouse. Uh-oh. And that ball is a base hit. That will send Rose to third. There's 2 outs, first and third. And here's Gary Matthews with an 8. That's tough, a tough 76. That should be it. And it will be a fly out to center. And that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit. 7-2 the score here. Seaver's going to take the loss unless the Mets can come back. But I doubt it's going to happen. Let's see who the Mets use to pinch hit in the next game. They use Rusty Staub. And Rusty Staub will show up here and pinch hit. I love that. Love using Rusty Staub. Like Ron Orange, what a great hitter. A great overall guy and player. Love to cook. Has a few restaurants. I think they're still around. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be. But he loved to eat, loved to cook. Big guy. Huge guy. Powerful. All right. Rusty Staub is going to bat here to lead off the top of the 9th. And what's next? Let's see. Reed versus Staub to lead off the bottom of the 9th. It's an 8. That's a tough 32. And that is a, miss being a base hit. It's going to be a comebacker to Reed. Throws Rusty out. And here's Mookie Wilson. A 5. That's a patient. Patient 86. And that is a ground at a second. 2 down. So the Phils are 1 out away from defeating Tom Terrific. And here's Bob Baylor. Baylor today is 2 for 4, 2 singles. That's an 8 tough, a tough 0-0. And the 0-0 is supposed to give us the unusual stuff chart. 0-0 is the unusual play chart with the bases empty. I don't really use that. I turn it into a error check because it's all injuries, and I don't use injuries. So we're going to 41 could be an error. So who's it going to be on? Error on the shortstop. Let's pull a card for that. A 62. Okay, error on the shortstop. Actually, I could use that first number, but I don't like remembering that first number, so I just pull another number. And the 62 will not be an error on the show. Wait, it will be. Wait a second. Shortstop De Jesus is a 3 error rating. So a 3 error rating is a 1 to 47, so it won't be an error. And that's going to be the ball game. Fires to first in time, and that's it. So Seaver picks up a loss here, unfortunately, for Tom Terrific. Gave up no home runs, no hit by pitch, no wild pitches. Ownbay came in and pitched a couple innings. Gave up a hit and a walk. He struck out 1. The win's going to go to Carlton. And 2.2 for Reed. So that's a good thing about early 70s games, early 80s games. You can let relievers go 2-3 innings, no problem. If you look at all the games, they do that all the time. So that was fun. I enjoyed it. I haven't played, so I was a little rusty because I haven't played this in a while. So definitely a little bit rusty. I have to admit it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had to think a couple times and like slow it down. But then once I play this, it becomes super duper fast. Let's see. Let's read some of the comments. Sharing the seasons that we have. I have a bunch of. I have a lot of strat, but I sold most of my 70s. I still have 67 because that's Seaver's rookie season. I have 82, 83. Didn't get rid of that, I don't believe. I have. Then I have a lot of modern stuff. I have 2009, I think, or 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have those. I have about 7 sets of Stratomatic. I play it every so often. I don't play it all the time. I play it every so often. Let's see. I had 216. I would be bad Cubs fan. I didn't LOL. Yes, you need 216 if you're a Cubs fan. But and the Mets were also in the playoff, a 1-game playoff versus the San Francisco Giants in 2016. So I have a reason to want that season as well. And Cespedes had a good season in 2016. He played the whole season with the Mets and hit, I think, 30 home runs, and he did well. I don't think he has a future anymore. Especially he struck out all the time in this past season where he just went home. Didn't tell anybody, just went home, got in his car and drove home, and everybody was like, "Why isn't he at the game? Where is he? He's in the lineup." And they didn't know had to replace him in the lineup. What a class act, huh? Try another thing like about payoff pitching, the fringe players, and they do have sometimes they do have the lefty righty splits. And see if I missed any other stuff, cool stuff. Yeah, 6 runs, yep, 6 runs, and that's about it, guys. This is CP Cards and Dice. So this is probably farewell for this channel. I will be developing a new channel with a different approach, different format, more about tutorials and chat. And not big, and not games every single day. I'll let other guys do that. I'll let them, run a game every single day. This will be more like a specialty show, focusing on unboxings and new information, new games, how to play this game, how to try out this game, what it looks like, and all that kind of thing. So this is CP Cards and Dice. Thanks for stopping by and saying hello. Final score. Let's fill this out. 7-2. Phillies win. And what I do here, I do this. It's a lot of fun. I find it fun. I mean, you may not. You may say that's boring. But I color in the hits to kind of really analyze what happened in my game. The 3 big hits here. This is the big inning. This is the inning that killed Seaver and the Mets right here. The top of the 6th inning. And in the 5th inning, there's 3 hits in that one too. So luckily I pulled Seaver when I did, because it would have been a lot uglier. Look, that all would have happened to Seaver had I probably. You don't know that. You can't say that, right? But that's it. We gave up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. But he did give up, I believe, 3 walks. A walk here. I do the walks in yellow. It really stands out. There was a walk here as well. And another walk there. And then the strikeouts. I like to do the strikeouts as well. It's fun to do that. Do this. Make them stand out. That's all the strikeouts. And then I do the groundouts in brown. Let's see. So I like to see a good variety of outs in my games. Like I like to see brown. I like to see blue. All right. Everything in the air is blue, and everything on the ground is going to be brown. So then I want a little bit of both. A nice mix. I don't like just one color. Pop up, fly out, pop up. 2 groundouts here. 2 groundouts there. And then with the blue, I'm going to do the fly balls. Fly ball there. Fly ball there. And the fly ball there. Let it fly out. Let it pop up. Fly out. Pop up. line out. So these are all my air outs. Another air out right there. And I missed a walk. That was by Obey. And another one here. This one was by Sisk. And that's about it. That's what it looks like there. So the red are the strikeouts. And I like doing that. It's fun. My wife calls it my adult coloring book. I go, yeah, it's my adult coloring book. I don't know. It just chills me out when I do that. And then when you go down here, you can really look how the Mets did more closely. They had a hit there. They had a couple of hits. They took an early lead. And then they struggled a little bit. They just had a single in the fifth, another single in the sixth. And then they had a couple of runners on base here with a couple of hits, but they only scored one. And they had a couple of runners on again in the eighth that failed to score. And Carton with a strikeout there. Another one here. Another two here. And these are all the strikeouts by Reed. Ron Reed did a good job. And then the walks. Did I do the walks? Oh, I missed a hit. I missed the hit right here. Bunch of ground outs right there. Well, actually, two ground outs. Another out on the ground here. And Brown. The ground out there. And then a couple more ground outs here. And then the pop-ups. What is that? Oh, it's a ground ball to first base. Looks like a 91. Pop-up. Pop-up. Fly out. Fly out. Fly out. Pop-up. There we go. And then we fill it in like this so we can just focus on the innings where something happened. And that's it. I take a picture of this. That was fun. That was a blast. Seaver loses it. Oh, I didn't do the hits, though. Let me count up the hits. That's why I did all that. Greens. Let's count up the greens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hits. Any errors? No errors there. Any errors? No errors here. Hits for the Mets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 hits. So the Mets actually had more hits. But the Phillies had more walks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 walks to the Mets. 2 walks. That's surprising that the Phillies only had seven hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. That's it. Final line score: Phillies 7 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Mets 2 runs, 10 hits, no errors. CP cards and dice. Bears Dan. That's another thing I do, like playoff pitch game. That's it. Take care, guys.